Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna make a video on Rahu Ketu, right? And a brief story about how Rahu Ketu came into existence. I'm not gonna go into detail over here, but just a brief about their origin. Um, there was a Amrit distribution that was happening. Amrit is basically elixir that's gonna make you immortal. You cannot die after drinking that, and it the entire story is pretty long. In short, it was decided that devas will get the elixir, and amongst these devas, Svarbhanu, he was a daitya. He sort of came into the entire ceremony. He deceived them and ended up consuming the immortal elixir, the Amrit. And just as he consumed it, Sun and Moon pointed it to Bhagwan Vishnu that he's not one of us. He cannot be drinking any elixir. And so Bhagwan Vishnu got very upset and angry with it because Swarbhanu had deceived him himself. So he took out his Sudarshan Chakra and severed his head. So his head was cut from his body. The head part of Swarbhanu is called as Rahu, and the body without the head is called Ketu. And this one story depicts everything you need to know about Rahu Ketu. Everything that every kind of result that they will give in different situations. Rahu, the head part, has no body, so the hunger of Rahu is never satiated. Rahu is always hungry, always wants to eat more and more and more and more. Rahu is obsession. Rahu is smoke, is illusion. Wherever Rahu sits in your birth chart, you never know what's there in that area. You feel deceived by the elements or the agents of that house. You always have this feeling of uncertainty, this feeling of I don't know what's there. It's hidden. It's attracting me. It's like a dark room. I want to go in there. I want to explore it, but I'm also scared what might happen, right? And sooner or later, you do get deceived by the elements of that house. That's how you learn your lesson. That's part of your prarabdha as well. Ketu. Ketu is just the body. Ketu does not have any head. So, Ketu doesn't have any desire. Ketu is moksha. Ketu is. It's said that Ketu ka pakka ghar is the 12th house. Basically, meaning that Ketu finds most stability in the 12th house. 12th house is what? 12th house is the house of liberation, moksha. So, wherever Ketu sits, Ketu puts a cut on those areas of your life. You will only get those things if you do, when you bow down to Ketu and when you accept that this is not the most fulfilling area of my life. Most of my karmas relating to this house are already over. Ketu is also our expertise, right? Ketu basically tells us that this house has already been mastered in previous lifetimes. A lot of experiences coming from the past life in this particular house, and now I have to go towards Rahu. So Ketu is kind of like my comfort zone, and from that comfort zone, I'm sort of traveling towards Rahu. Rahu is the unknown. I don't know what's there, but that's my life path. It doesn't really mean that you won't get the Ketu related things in your life. That's a misconception. You will, but first you'll be taught your lesson. First you'll be taught the value of that thing. And since you sort of have an expertise in that area, you are mostly attracted to those things. It's like after dealing with all the Rahu related things, you get peace in that area. You get satisfaction in that area. So this was a quick brief. Now I'll move to Rahu Ketu axis. This video, since I'm combining all the 12 axes, it's going to be pretty long. So I'll try to give as much information in as little time as possible. But if you want a detailed video, let me know and I'll take up those topics in the coming days. First, Rahu in the first house and Ketu in the seventh house, the 1-7 axis. Remember that 1, 4, 7, 10 are our Kendra houses. Those are basically the foundation of our houses. It's like the 4 legs on which the entire Kundi stands. It's the very basic needs. First house is you, fourth house is your home, your mother, seventh house is your spouse, your partner, your marriage, and 10th house is your career, your job, society. So these are the 4 legs, and fourth house is also your mental peace. So basically, this is you could say the axis of your life. When Rahu Ketu are in these houses, 1, 7, 4, 10, 7, 1, and 10, 4, it's a pretty heavy life karmas that the soul has decided to sort of exhaust in this particular life. When Rahu is in the first house, um, now the person is basically, first house or you is something you haven't explored. In your past lifetimes, you've probably been a very devoted spouse. You've always sort of found a lot of love, or you've always found time for your spouse, but not as much for yourself. You also have this feeling that the spouse might complete me, that that person sort of completes me, and without that, I don't know who I am. My identity lacks. So seventh house, because Ketu is there, seventh house becomes the expertise of your previous years, previous lifetimes. So you want to get married, you want to have a partner, you want to sort of have someone who can come into your life and complete you in some sense. That's obviously not how it works. This lifetime, the soul has decided to take all the time to myself, and so the personality over the years becomes a little detached towards the spouse. They Obviously, this is no indication of whether you'll get married or not. That is not how that works. To get to that decision that someone might not get married or someone will get married is a very long, personalized prediction that happens. It's not, you cannot give that on the basis of this one placement. Yes, when the seventh house has such a heavy planet Ketu in there, and the 1-7 axis has Rahu Ketu, you know that there are certain karmas to be exhausted in the marriage area, but that doesn't deny marriage. That obviously also does not say that you will have a bad marriage or you'll get divorced. None of those things. You might, but again, you might is something that you can see even without these two planets not being in that axis. When Ketu is there, the person sort of learns to become detached towards the marriage area. They have to sort of reduce their expectations in that area. They have to sort of learn that I am complete in myself. I need to give myself that love and affection and all the time that I need and want. And once that is satisfied, then a marriage can work. That it is okay that my partner does not give me as much time as I'd want. The partner is not available 24/7. That's not, or the notion of ideal marriage, that's not what should concern you over here. It should be that I am alone. When I'm alone, I'm happy, can take care of myself. And when a partner walks in, they can take care of themselves as well. Two adults are there in a relationship, and that's how marriage might work here. Another thing is the person themselves could be very disinterested in the marriage area. Probably they have a very negative view towards marriage due to what they've seen in their childhood, or due to what they might have witnessed or experienced in one of their past lifetimes. Could be anything, but it shows that they are detached towards their spouse. They already are pretty obsessed with themselves. You see how it works. Rahu also could make you, everything is about you. You don't really care about the partner, you don't really care about the marriage. You might not want to get married yourself. You think that I am, um, even if I'm alone, I'm happy and I'm satisfied and I can take care of myself. I don't need to get married. In those cases, time will teach you that that's not really true. And if you do get the right person, you should get married. When you learn to balance yourself and your marriage, your spouse, on the same scale, you give yourself enough time and attention, and you give the marriage enough time and attention, then this axis does miracles. Obviously, things improve as Rahu Ketu mature, which is at the age of 42 and 48 respectively. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Coming on to the 2 and 8 axis of Rahu Ketu, when Rahu is in the second house and Ketu is in the 8th house. Now, what's happening? Second house is the house of family. Second house is the house of ego. Second house is what you eat. Second house is also, your ego in a sense. Second house is all the resources because it's the natural house of Taurus. 8th house is the house of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio in itself is a very karmic sign. Predictions here go haywire. You can say one thing and something completely opposite happens. You can never really predict with Scorpio and Aquarius because they are co-ruled by Ketu and Rahu respectively. But 8th house in general is the house of your in-laws. It's the house of deep hidden things, research, astrology, occult, mysticism. It's the house of your in-laws family as well, your marriage's resources, because it's second from the seventh according to Bhavad Bhavan. So when Rahu Ketu are in this axis, obviously these things come into picture, these things come into focus. This could make you a very money-minded person, which is not bad. It could mean this person wants to accumulate as much resources as they want to, uh, as they can. And this is someone who might have grown up in a poverty kind of a situation where their needs were hardly met. So now they definitely learn the value of money and they keep chasing it. Rahu is obsession. Rahu is obsession. Rahu wants to keep eating, 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 eating. He does not have any limitations. So a lesson here that might be useful is that you earn money, you save money, but you spend some of it on yourself as well. You spend some of it on your family as well. This is also a placement where the person could start smoking very early, because um, second house is what you eat. Rahu is kind of that smoky, mystical element. You don't really know. You're really attracted to those things. And initial family life could also be disturbed with as a child. It could be. I'm not saying it will. That's uh, one placement does not define the chart. I can say that 100 times, but initial family life could show a bit of turmoil. It could show a bit of um, uneasiness, or the person might not be able to express themselves properly. They're not able to speak up for themselves when they have to, because second house is also the house of your speech, of your voice. Eighth house, on the other hand, eighth house is where this person either is too attracted or completely detached. Mostly, it will be that this person is detached from research, mysticism, occult. But as they dive deeper in these areas, because this is where the expertise is, right? This is the hidden things that you've mastered already in some way or the other. So when you go towards these things, you find peace. When you go towards research, when you exhaust your energy these are the people who could be very skilled and sharp in astrology and occult sciences. They could also be someone who's very attracted to or who has a job in the insurance sector, or something related with something that's hidden, something that's not really seen or understand or talked about as much. So those things could be an expertise area for these people, and when a career or expertise is established over here, you'll see Rahu giving good effects. Then you start earning money, then you start making more money. This Rahu can make you extremely rich. Obviously, second and eighth axis, the original houses, Taurus and Scorpio, are where a lot of people consider Rahu and Ketu to be exalted. So it's one of the good axes to have if you are able to take care of Ketu properly. Coming on to the 3 9 axis, Rahu in the third house, Ketu in the ninth house. This is probably one of the best axis of Rahu Ketu in my opinion. No, that does not mean that it does not come with its share of difficulties. Every placement will show some hidden karma, some pending karma in some area or the other. But what it does show me is that this person will come out of these difficulties. Third house is the house of courage. It's the house of speech. Second house is how you talk, or basically your voice, and third house is how you communicate. There is a difference. When Rahu is in the third house, the way this person communicates is very sharp, is very, very sharp. And remember, it's the Gemini Sagittarius axis, right? Gemini Sagittarius axis is also where a lot of people consider Rahu Ketu to be exalted. Personally, I feel that they are much more comfortable over here as opposed to the Taurus Scorpio axis, but I could be wrong. Either ways, both these axes they are considered very, very, very well placed. And Rahu and Mercury are best friends. So even if your third house is not the house of Gemini, Gemini energies are still there. This person makes a person very cunning and very, quick in communication. The way they're able to sort of deceive someone while they're communicating, or the way they're able to catch if someone else is lying very quickly. Third house is also the house of courage. These people with time will become very courageous. Earlier in life, they'll feel very shy in communicating. They won't be a public speaker kind of a person. They would be introverted, or they could sort of have a lot of problems in expressing themselves, a lot of problems with courage, and could have fear when it comes to, standing up for yourself and stuff like that. But as time progresses, because you're eventually moving from Ketu to Rahu, you learn these things. You become an excellent communicator. You become fearless. When you talk, you literally seem like the most confident person in the room. And those things actually make your living. You could be a salesman. You could be someone in the marketing profession. You could be someone who's, in any journalist, in any way who's associated with speaking and earns through their communication skills. Ketu, on the other hand, is in the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of father. Some people consider 10th house to be the house of father as well, but ninth house is the house of father as well. Ninth house is the house of guru, is the house of higher education, is the house of our values, our value system, our belief system. Ketu provides a detachment over here. For some reason, your father either lived away from you when you were a child or was a bit emotionally detached. Similar behavior was reflected in teachers and gurus, and you yourself are a little less interested in higher education. Higher education in the sense your master's degree. Education till bachelor's is sort of the fifth house realm, and ninth house is basically your masters and PhD and stuff like that. Or you want to sort of go for your masters and PhD, but it's delayed for some reason. There's this sort of cut there. It also could mean that your value system, your belief system is different than other people. This will happen with Ketu, that what these people believe and think and how their thinking has been shaped since their childhood is very different from other people. If you go deep into these areas, because this will be a comfort area, you can find that one guru in this, and guru may not happen in a traditional sense. Those kind of people are not really available for most of us. They could, but for most people, you could find a teacher in a school setting, a college setting, or when you're pursuing a master's or PhD or something, who has a lot of influence on you, who actually helps you, who guides you, and is sort of able to make your life a lot better. But overall, I suggest going towards some form of if you pursue higher education, if you go towards that area, then Ketu is also in a way satiated. Higher education could be delayed, but it doesn't really mean it's denied. It could just mean that you are sort of taught the value of that particular degree or that particular speciality before, and then you go and do your degree, you get your qualification, and then Rahu takes over and sort of gets you to that success that you've decided. Overall, this is a good axis of Rahu Ketu. Moving on to the 4-10 axis of Rahu Ketu. Rahu in the 4th, Ketu in the 10th. This is a very again, these are the Kendra houses, right? The quadrant houses. 4-10 is one of the major one of the most important axes of life. This, if here there is imbalance, then there is the person sort of never finds peace actually. 4th house is the house of mother, maternal relatives, your mental health, happiness, emotional stability, your home. 10th house is the house of father, is the house of career, is the house of your image in the society, your reputation in the society. It's the house of your work ethics. It's the house of how good or how far you'll exceed and do in your career. It's it's the original house of Saturn. Capricorn energies are present in the 10th house. 4th house is the house of moon, and wherever you see a moon Rahu combination, a moon Ketu combination, because remember in the story sun and moon complained about Rahu Ketu, so Rahu Ketu eclipse the sun and moon. They are inimical to each other, and Rahu Ketu are so powerful they actually end up eclipsing the two luminaries. It's not luminaries, whatever that word is. Basically, the planets, the two planets that illuminate the Earth, sun and moon. They are the source of light, natural sources of light. They end up eclipsing them. That's how powerful they are. When Rahu comes in the 4th house, those eclipse energies are felt. Even if moon is not there, even if sign of Cancer is not there, you'll still feel that the sense of peace and stability and mental and emotional health somewhere is disturbed. There is a little bit of anxiety, could be a lot, and these things are also, or could be, reflected in the mother's nature as well. So It could be that the person, mother is of a nature, mother gets really really worried, or mother is obsessed by you, or you as a kid are obsessed by your mother. You always want your mother to be around you. You always crave and look for her affection. And as a kid also, you are the mama's boy or something like that. And Ketu on the 10th how Ketu on the other hand in the 10th house provides a little bit of detachment from father, from society, from career. These are the kind of people who sort of don't really care what the people think about them, and that is reflected in their initial experiences in their own life. Basically, they are not able to register how important it is, that what people think of me, what the society thinks of me, what how much importance my career carries. Their father's point of view, their father's opinion. Your father and you could have disagreements with each other frequently, and you always look for your mother's love. You are attracted to the areas of home. This could be a person who becomes a homemaker or interior designer, something to do with the home, or even if they are working, they could work from home. That's basically, you've sort of utilized Rahu's energy over here, so that's a very clever way. But this axis sort of gets balanced as you age. When you age, when you reach the age of 42, 48, you'll realize there is a lot of stability that comes in. Your anxiety goes down. You then start getting good results in your career as well. And it's not necessarily that it's going to happen at the age of 42. You could get those results much earlier as well. I need to sort of see the entire chart. But later on, you get those satisfaction from society, and the respect and kind of position you're looking for. Even in job, this could also give a break in your career. Could, I'm not sure, I have to see the entire birth chart, but it could give temporary unwanted breaks in the career, where you have to sort of go back to your home, because Rahu will always keep you attracted towards those areas of life, the domestic life. You should always try to manage as much as you can with respect to your career. You might not get the ideal kind of respect or the position or status you're looking for, and that is okay. You sort of have to keep working through it, and with time you'll get there. Leaving your job and just sitting, just sort of leaving it is not really a good solution over here. Coming to the next axis of Rahu Ketu, 5th and 11th. Fifth house is the house of sun. Again, the eclipse effect will be seen over here. Fifth house is you, your ego, your self-respect, your confidence, your self-expression. How creatively are you able to express yourself? It's also the house of your education. It's the house of your position, your position in the society, your authority. It's the natural house of Leo, right? And 11th house is the house of Aquarius. Again, Saturn's Mool Trikon. Aquarius is also co-ruled by Rahu, by the way. Aquarius is the house, or 11th house is the house of your friend circle, the society at large, the people at large, internet. Like if a person uploads a video on YouTube and so many people watch it, that's 11th house at play. 11th house is your network circle, your professional network circle, people you socially interact with. It's also the house of your work colleagues and your people who your superiors at work, your boss and manager and all that. So when Rahu Ketu come in this axis and Rahu is in the 5th house, this is a person who's very intelligent, very sharp. This is able to actually harness those powers and could go very deep into a particular topic. This person could become a artist or a designer of some sort, where they're able to express themselves creatively. It could, but it doesn't really happen very easily, or doesn't really happen without any delays. It could be that initially you are not really interested in the area of education, and you just want the approval of your friends, and the approval of society at large, or the people, basically your fathers, brothers, your chacha, and all your relatives on the paternal side. You want their approval, but as a child you don't really get it. This kind of cut, a detachment from that area, which forces you towards the 5th house. Now in the 5th house, you learn about your confidence, ego, authority, how to creatively express yourself, how to do really well in education. And these are the people who can sort of crack any examination, because they are sharp. If they use the power of Rahu in the correct manner, they will get those things. And once you're done with education, once you put a lot of hard work in this area, either it's a creative pursuit or it's education, and you realize your value, you realize it. Later on, you'll see Ketu also starts giving good result. Ketu actually can give you so much money in the 11th house if it's well posited. You cannot even imagine that. But first, it'll make you detached. First, it'll make you detached from that area. It'll take you to Rahu, it'll teach you all the lessons Rahu has for you, and once you learn them, then Ketu will open those doors with you for you. And these are also, I've seen in a lot of birth charts, these people become you know, when they get big money, they actually end up donating most of it. Fifth house is also the house of progeny or children. So with Rahu, it could be a little different. Either you sort of become a parent little later in life, or your relationship with the child is initially a bit up and down. Sooner or later, things will stabilize. They will, in most cases, they do. But initially, you are of the opinion that I don't want children. It could also sort of give you confidence or ego issues. Either you have too much of it or too less of it, both of which are wrong, by the way. You have to understand there is a difference between ego and self confidence and self respect. You need to maintain a balance between the two, otherwise, this entire axis could take you out for a very nice spin and you won't even realize what happened with you. So, that's there. Coming to the next house, the 6th 12th axis of Rahu Ketu. 6th house is originally the house of Virgo. A lot of people consider Rahu to be exalted in the sign of Virgo. Traditionally, we don't have exaltation signs for Rahu Ketu, but I've read this somewhere uh, that Rahu, even if he's not exalted, he tends to give very good results in the 6th house. And 12th house is the house of Ketu, is the house of Sagittarius, is the house of not Sagittarius, Guru's other sign, Pisces. When you see Rahu Ketu in the 6th 12th axis, you'll sort of this is a very karmic axis. As I mean, all Rahu Ketu axes are karmic, but in this sense, 6th house is basically the house of your day-to-day work, your job. 6th house is the house of enemies. 6th house is your maternal uncle. 6th house is the house of your day-to-day mundane tasks. Your health. 12th house is the house of moksha. That's the house of liberation. Pisces, the original 12th house. That's where everything absolutely dissolves. Nothing matters. Everything is. And Ketu here is very, very, very good because Ketu is the moksha karak. The 12th house is considered to be Ketu's pakka house because Ketu is very good here. Ketu is the moksha karak, and 12th house is the house of moksha. So this house is a fantastic placement for people who want to go into meditation, spirituality, who want to ultimately basically get answers to every question, ultimately want to get liberation from this mundane cycle. But before that liberation happens, you're going to have to deal with Rahu here in the 6th house. Rahu will keep creating issues with regards to enemies. You will have lots of enemies. You will have big powerful enemies. Rahu also always defeats them. Rahu in the 6th house, this is one particular thing, that Rahu defeats their enemies. And these enemies are also very powerful because Rahu is powerful. These enemies will be more powerful than you. If you are working at this level in the company, your enemy will not be of this level, it will be of this level. As a child in school, you'll end up creating an enemy out of your teacher. And the thing is, you don't do it, it just happens. You're not doing it on purpose. And initially, you will be dragged through the mud because of that animosity, because that person is in a position of power to you. It's only later, over a period of time, that you're actually able to win with them. As this Rahu ages, they also learn things that help them overcome these inimical people at work, at home, at school, or anywhere else. They learn how to deceive people. They learn how to sort of they become very cunning over time because this becomes the focus area of house. Over a period of time, you will see every single time Rahu gets an enemy, they will defeat it. These 6th houses also, I don't know why that balloon thing happened. If that came on the screen, I don't know why. I must have pressed the button. But what I'm trying to say is that Rahu is also very competitive. Rahu is one of the most competitive planets, and in the sixth house, the house of competition, these people become very active and sharp whenever there is a competition. If they are the only student who's getting a 95, they are like, okay. When someone else gets a 97, then they're like, no, 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 I gotta study, I gotta get a 98, 99, 100. I gotta be the best, I gotta be the first person there. So that is something that's a very good quality of Rahu over here. These qualities are naturally harnessed over time, like with any other axis. This will not be an easy axis. Rahu will keep giving health issues from time to time. Rahu can drag you to a legal battle as well. And once you dealt with all these things, your places with Ketu, with Moksha. So these people naturally are introverted. They find peace in the Ketu related areas. Remember, Ketu is where the expertise is. So they find uh, peace when they are alone, when they spend time with themselves, or when they are in a foreign land. This could also be a position where the person goes to a foreign land away from home. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think this video has already become a little longer than I would have wanted it. So I'll take up the Rahu Ketu axis from 1 7. I've covered till the sixth house, Rahu till the sixth house. I'll take up Rahu in the seventh house all the way to 12th house in the next video. Let me know what you think of it. If there are any topics or any sort of things that I could have touched upon and I did not, I'll take it up in the next video. And yeah, like my channel, like my video, subscribe to my channel, and thank you.